Finally, Florida admits that everything is illegal and you are not free. We have the highest rate in the nation of busting and prosecuting kids for anything and everything. Then they have a record and they can't get a job. It's called policing for profit. Charlotte County Sheriff and PUNTA GORDA police are both guilty of this unconstitutional tyranny. They will finally try to scrub lower offenses from their records. Our founding fathers did not fight to free America from the prestige to have this tyranny. Defund it now before it's too late. Push to decriminalize minor youth offenses. Let's say you're a teenager and you do something stupid. I know, hard to believe, right? Maybe you get caught with a small amount of pot, or you're in the wrong place when a fight breaks out. Maybe you're out with the guys and ended up someplace you shouldn't, or you committed a petty theft. You've never broken the law before, but someone called the cops and soon you're handcuffed in the back of a squad car with a record that will stick to you like gum on the bottom of your shoe. Potential employers, college admissions officers, and just everyone else will want to know what happened the night you went stupid. That's why it's encouraging that Senate President Joe Negron is aggressively trying to decriminalize these minor transgressions. Senator Anatir Flores, a Miami Republican, has filed Senate Bill 196 as part of the effort to back up Negron's plea to not criminalize adolescents. Negron isn't talking about letting teens who commit serious crimes off the hook. He is talking nickel-on-dime stuff, like the time when George Hector Watt Bush was running against Ronald Reagan for the Republican nomination for president. Negron slipped over to Bush's home on Jupiter Island and put Reagan stickers on his mailbox. Instead of arresting him, the cops told him to go back and clean up the box. But then came the push for zero tolerance for any infraction, and things that in the past would have earned the youthful offender a stern talking to started resulting in the kind of punishment that never really goes away. The Southern Poverty Law Center reported in 2015 that Florida prosecuted more than 10,000 minors in a 5-year period, the highest total in the nation. It told how juveniles are often housed with adult inmates, leading to abuse and injuries. The SPLC's report added that the Justice Policy Institute found that it costs as much as $55,407 a year to lock up a young person in Florida, although the Department of Juvenile Justice's budget suggests the cost could be twice that amount. These policies also fail to make us safer. An adult court conviction diminishes opportunities for education and future employment. And children become more likely to reoffend, not less. That's why getting someone with Negron's power behind this push is essential. Turning certain misdemeanors into a citation instead of a police record is smart and overdue. Hopefully, his colleagues in Tallahassee agree. Joe Henderson has had a 45-year career in newspapers, including the last nearly 42 years at the Tampa Tribune, where he covered sports, politics and city government. The column moved on website Context Florida. Joe Henderson. Context Florida.
So a great irony that I had in doing drug work is usually drug work sends you to the deeper into it. And it actually pulled me out because I would interview these guys in the little rooms, and this one guy, Daniel Taylor, is the one I'm specifically remembering, and he was just a marijuana dealer, and he had a kid, and he was struggling to have this kid. He was young, he was trying to help, but he had gotten locked up a lot when he was younger, so he was selling weed to just like buy diapers for his kid, and he would tell me his stories, and like, we would be there, and he would be crying, and it was just like, fuck, there's no difference between this kid and me. There's nothing. The only difference between this kid and me is that when I had a dime bag in my pocket, there wasn't a fucking chance in hell someone was going to look. But him, he was going to get caught eventually, and it sent him into that spiral, and this could have been a good kid, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was still in jail now. And there was just nothing wrong with him. Our whole system created a criminal out of a decent kid. And it was shocking to me. Like like, I knew I was following the rules, and so I had to arrest him. I had to finish this up because I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. But it was kind of heartbreaking to start to see that these people, they weren't different than us. They just had a different environment than us, and we should be changing that environment, not changing them.
Wow. What the fuck, dude? What a crazy life you lived.
Yeah, I didn't think about it like that at the time.
Right, but now being out of it, how long did it take before you realized how fucking crazy it was?
It started when I was in, but
it started with like talking to that kid. It was
right, and then realizing that this wasn't a war. This is ridiculous that we were doing this. This was not the enemy. This was a socioeconomic problem that we had to deal with. But this isn't the enemy. We are not at war. This is preposterous.
So by being embedded in their community, you recognize that we really are, or you really were, an occupying force in just a community that's trying to get by. Just a bunch of people that are just like you or I, but their circumstances were unfortunate. They were born into this situation where this cycle is perpetuated over and over and over again, and you got a chance to see it. Did the futility of it all, was that obvious to you?
Yeah, incredibly obvious. There's no point. So I remember a case we had where there was a group that was selling drugs, and we worked on it for about a week or two, took down the whole group, and 2 days later there was a whole new crew running the exact same neighborhood, doing the same product, and we were just like, fuck, that was pointless.
Right.
We just took all them off. There was no point to it whatsoever.
And it was all drugs anyway.
It's all drugs.
Fucking A, man.
Everything is drugs.
You know, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I kind of been one in the past, but I've mostly abandoned that. But if I was, I would feel like this is engineered. I would feel like this is just set up to make sure that these people stay poor, that you keep arresting people, and you keep this cycle going.
I don't think you're a conspiracy theorist.
Is that?
I think you're right.
Is it because it exists and because the system sort of feeds off of it, or was it engineered?
I think the prison industrial complex has a huge role in that. So, especially with your privatizing prisons, so you're creating a vacancy for a bed that must be filled. So who's going to fill that? So this is where institutional racism also comes in. I'm not going to fill it with you. We're not going to fill it with me. We're not going to fill it with Jamie.
Jamie's sketchy. Look at him.
No. We're going to fill it with the people we like the least.
Right.
As a society.
The people that you feel like you can demonize the easiest.
Yep.
What if, this is a big hypothetical, but what if we went into some sort of a situation in this country where drugs became decriminalized? Where the United States woke the fuck up and realized we've been doing the same shit that they did during the fucking 20s, during you know, Prohibition. We're doing the same shit. We're telling people what they can't do. They're not listening, and we're feeding organized crime. We're feeding crime that is filling a vacuum, just like it's going on in Mexico right now. Just like these poor fucking people that live in these border towns in Mexico. It's all being fueled by the fact that drugs are illegal and they're selling these drugs to America. If all of a sudden that changed, how much of an impact would that have on police?
It would be striking. Again, that's 90% of what I did. So if we would stop doing that, it would be incredibly advantageous.
But what would they do with you guys? See what I'm saying?
Let's focus. Let's investigate violence. Let's figure out how we're going to fix things.
Okay.
So use some science to say we have a problem. What do we do to actually solve this problem? Instead of being fueled by ideology, what are we actually doing? You've seen the thin blue line sticker, right?
Yes.
The black on the top, black on the bottom. So we even visualize ourselves the wrong way. So we're this thin blue line, and the thin blue line goes to the middle, and it separates the good guys from the bad guys, and it makes us neither. Our entire mentality is that we are somebody that's separate. We're not the good guys or the bad guys. We're a separate entity that runs this shit. Do we have a problem with power? We have as human beings? Maybe we do. So let's acknowledge that and put measures in place so that we don't exceed our power boundaries. Have some checks and balances in law enforcement, because we have zero. We did away with everything we want to get away with until there's a camera. If we can just talk and start opening up as humans and be nice and be empathetic, then we're going to work all of this out.
I think when we look back at this time, 100 years from now, when people look back, when we're dead, they're going to look back and go, God, it was a fucking crazy time to be alive. That internet just fucking threw a monkey wrench into the whole gears. Clank. You don't hear any "We Are All Brothers and Sisters" on Fox News. You don't hear that. What do you hear? You hear crime statistics. You know, you hear Nancy Grace with 2 Chainz debating about marijuana. I mean, you really, that's what you hear. You hear bullshit, nonsense. You don't hear any soul. You know, no one's got a goddamn heart. No one recognizes the fact that this is a temporary existence. We're going through a temporary existence, and there are so many of us.
This is Charlotte County
And there's
COPWATCH,
pockets that seem almost unmanageable because they've been fucked over for hundreds of years, and there's just a swarming chaos in these areas. And they're riding on momentum. And they're riding on the momentum of decades and decades of poverty and crime and a cycle of despair. And it's going to be hard to fix that shit. But it's critical, and it's one of the most important aspects of our civilization. If we don't fix that, our civilization is nonsense. It's not that hard. Instead of being a fucking vampire and arresting people for crack and pulling people over and doing the same goddamn shit that everybody's been doing for the last 100 years.
It's striking how much we do things similar. One of the things we found when we were messing around digging through files is we found an action plan. And these action plans, like, so a big crime happens and the shift commander will draw up an action plan, send it up, what he's going to do to address this problem. And this action plan was from the 1970s. We found it in like 2010.
Whoa,
and
you found it?
We found it in a drawer, and it was the exact same action plan as the other shift commander was doing. It was like the same corners, the same response, the same plan. So like for 40 years, nobody's changed anything, and you have the same corners being the same problems with the same families and doing the same things, and the police are doing the exact same goddamn thing in response. Wow. It's unbelievable how we're doing this, and that's what these talks have to get us to do, is to do exactly what you're saying, communicate, lift up the country. It doesn't make any sense that we would treat a medical problem like it's a criminal problem and put those people into a jail cell, drug addicts into a jail cell. It doesn't make any sense.
So you're dealing with like a 2.5 foot, 3 foot target?
Yeah, it's almost impossible to miss.
And all you have to do is get 70% and you pass?
Yeah.
So you miss 30% at 15 yards, a giant fucking target?
We're not even talking about 15 yards. We're talking about, I mean, some of these are from 3.
Wait a minute.
So you start from the 3, you do a lot of rounds.
And they get set, hold the fuck on. 70%?
Right, so you can actually qualify before you even go
shooting
deep.
A person.
I know.
So this isn't even adrenaline. It's not even crazy.
No, this is ideal situation, ideal circumstances.
Oh, so it's all. It should be 100%.
I know.
100, or they kill you. They should kill you. Take you out back.
100. Yeah, 100. Maybe get a different try. I've had 98s from time to time. But they shouldn't be there. It's staggering. People don't understand what we're talking about. When you say the job is impossible, it is completely impossible, especially with the amount of training that they have.
Oh my God, I don't understand how they don't train you how to do that. They don't train you how to use firearms correctly?
No, nobody.
Accuracy? They train you how to breathe while you're shooting?
They tell you all these things, but
they don't train you.
They don't have time. So the instructors, they know what they're doing.
Right.
But they don't have time to take somebody that has no idea what the hell they're doing, or what's even worse is somebody that has bad habits, and break those habits so they can be a decent shooter. There's no time for it, and it's not going to happen. There's no standard. So if they don't pass, they just keep shooting them and shooting and shooting and shooting until you pass.
So you just keep doing it, or you learn? You know,
no, there's no learning. I mean, they just keep learning, and you only do it once a year.
What?
Right.
What?
Once a year. No practice.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No practice. Once a year.
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I couldn't do this job without the Marine Corps.
Oh my God.
So the only reason I was any good.
But how many guys were in the service that you worked with?
Maybe 20%.
So 80% have no experience.
Couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
Oh my God. It's a Will Ferrell movie.
You could do it. I mean, that's what it feels like. That's why I say. Yeah, I say about the banter. I mean, that's really. It seems that way a lot.
God damn it! I can't believe that. So no self-defense training.
What is there is just pointless.
You don't have to have like a certain degree of proficiency in hand-to-hand combat.
No, they do like wrist locks and carries and stuff like that. But,
wrist locks?
Yeah, these are things that in a real scenario we can't do. So
You got to be a bad motherfucker.
We can do a
to pull off
drill.
wrist lock.
Yeah, you can do a drill and put me to the ground with my wrist. But in real life, you're never getting my wrist.
That's a very vulnerable spot. You know, ow!
We're not going to really teach cops to strike. You're just not going to get anywhere.
The best way to learn.
You're right. The getaway. You might actually be on something there. That could be that's something we should be doing, because what we do is we fear things. So remember, we fear that guy can hit us. We fear that. So we should have an understanding of whether he or she would actually be capable at that range or capable in this particular situation.
I think that for one, if you only had one, I would say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But if I was going to teach something to cops, I would definitely teach them striking. The last thing you want to do is be someone who doesn't know how to strike, and you get punched in the face, and you're seeing stars, your eyes are watery, your legs are buckled, and you don't know what the fuck to do because you've never been there before.
There's not a physical standard whatsoever.
Well, how about chicks?
No. No standards.
They don't have to have... They don't have to at least be able to, like, lift their body weight up or something, or do a chin-up or something like that?
You get through the academy, you're finished.
What do you have to do to get through the academy?
Whatever it is, it's pathetic and easy.
Now, why is that? Is it hard to get people to join the police force, so you have to lower the physical standards?
Well, that's one reason why. I would be the prototype, okay? I have a master's degree. I'm confident. I came from the military. If you go through my training record, you'll see it. It's all there. I would be the prototype. I'm what you're looking for. But you're not willing to pay me what it would take to get somebody like me normally to do it. Right now, if I went into a police department, they would be offering me $42,000 a year. Really? I mean, you don't think I'm going to take a $42,000 a year job, do you? Really think that one really, really good cop can do the job of the 4 or 5 of what we have now. It's not a diss on anybody else. It's we have this problem, and we have this problem. Recognize it. Let's fix it. When I say that I want to team up with DeRay, so if I took a police commissioner job, the first thing I would do is say, DeRay, please come join me, please, because I need you. I need him. He's a community leader. The idea that we don't integrate people like him into our system is ridiculousness. He is a leader of the black community. I need him if I'm going to run a police agency. And we should not be turning those kind of people away and making like they're some kind